when Grandpa and Grandma were first married, Grandpa was about 30 years old after we married a few years, and they called Grandpa to be the bishop of his ward. And that's when Uncle Scott and Uncle Scott and Uncle Britt were little babies. And so they were very, very young.
No, they weren't.
What? Well, they were about 10.
Yeah, that's not a baby.
Well, they were kind of young. They were about 10 years old and 7 years old. Maybe Uncle Britt was even 12. But anyway, there was a family in our ward that was very, very poor, and they didn't have a lot of clothes, and they didn't have a dad in their home, and didn't have. And the mother worked at the railroad in the offices, and they had about 6 or 7 children, and so we knew they were very poor, and so Grandma and Grandpa decided that we would take them over some Christmas presents and a whole dinner, a roast and a whole dinner, and we would put it. We would sneak up on their doorstep. And we would put it on their doorstep and ring the doorbell and run out the gate and run down the street so they couldn't see us. They would not know who it was. And so Grandma made the roast and made all the dinner for us and wrapped all the presents for each of the children. And we parked our car across the street and down about 3 houses. And it was dark outside, so they couldn't tell who it was. Even if they saw me running, they couldn't tell. And so Grandpa parked the car, and then Grandma and Uncle Scott and Uncle Britt were looking really good because they were so happy that we were going to do a good deed for this family to give them food and give them Christmas presents. Well, Grandpa was very, very quiet, and he walked up to the gate. And I walked up to the gate, and I walked through the gate, opened the gate, and shut the gate behind me, and walked up to the gate. And just as I was getting ready to ring the doorbell, I see 2 dogs. Woof, 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 woof. And they were coming after me. They were big dogs. They weren't little dogs, and they were ferocious. And boy, they were mad. Because I was on their property, and they were very, very mad at me. And I had to think, well, those dogs are going to get me. And so I had to decide what I was going to do. If I ran back to the gate, the dogs would get me because it was too far back to the gate. The only thing for Grandpa to do was to jump the fence. And the fence was about 4.5 feet high. And Grandpa had his suit on because I just come from church. That night after doing all my business from church, have my suit on and my white shirt and my nice shoes. And I thought, well, I got to jump that fence. And so I rang the doorbell real quick. I put the presents down, and the dogs were right behind me. Ruff, 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 ruff. And I ran as fast as I could and tried to jump the fence. And just as I was jumping that fence, that doggy grabbed my pants. And he ripped my pants down. And it ripped my pants, and then my pants got the top of the fence like that with those little prongs on top of the fence, and ripped my back of my suit coat and my pants again. And Grandpa, and I saw this big thing of snow up like this, going down like that. I thought I'll jump in there, and they can't see me. Well, when I jumped in there, it was full of water and mud and yuck and snow and dirt. And there I was laying in that, and the people came to the door. And I looked over at them. They couldn't see me, and I looked over, and they looked around. The dogs were all barking at me on the side of the fence. And they looked around and couldn't see anybody. They picked up the presents, and they picked up the presents and the food and walked in the house. Well, Grandpa was pretty humiliated. Grandpa had his suit broken. My brand new suit was torn to pieces. My white shirt was all black now. My shoes were all muddy. I was dirty. I couldn't even get in the car hardly because I was so muddy and so dirty. And I was walking back to the car, and you know what I saw? What? Grandma and Uncle Scott and Uncle Britt laughing at me. They thought it was hilarious that Grandpa jumped the fence. The dog almost got me and bit me on the bottom. And I was so dirty, I had to take my coat off to get in the car and turn my coat backwards so I could sit on the seat of the car and sit on that because my pants were so dirty. And I drove home, and Grandma and Uncle Britt and Uncle Scott thought that was the funniest thing they'd ever seen. And the people didn't ever find out who gave them the presents and the dinner.